جنگ الان.
Hi everyone, please find your seat. We will start in 5 minutes.
علی جعفری آشنا اسمش هم آخه علی جعفری. ریشه
پودیوم از اونجا اگر بردارید خیلی بهتر، اون چیزه رو، فلزیه رو. تست.
دنبال پارتنرشیپ و اینا خیلی میگردم چجوری
حالا
کانکت.
من به روزبه
چقدر بین
زندگی
نه.
سن کارلوس.
I have no idea. بنابراین ممکنه ترافیک باشه. آره ببین اگه اینجا بشینن ما رو نمیدن. اونم میخوای بذاریم وسط یا اینکه بعد از اینکه ویدیو ها تموم شد نمیذاریم وسط صندلی ها رو. من میذارم خودم. لطفاً بفرمایید رو صندلیاتون بنشینید. Please take your seats so we can start. We're waiting for you guys to come so we can start the program. Can we get those people back there who's speaking? Excuse me. Can you guys come and sit down? Hello, Arman. Yeah. No, no. Wait. And there are 4 or 5 chairs empty up front, and I'm bargaining them. I'm selling them out. Do I get $20? $10? $5? Free. Okay, welcome to another Persian Tech Network. Tonight we have a very exciting program. We have 2 startup programs followed by a fireside chat. And I would like to remind you once more, like a broken record, I have done it. You come here not just for the pizza and drinks and all that. You come here to socialize, but you come here to network. And networking means not socializing with people you know. Networking means you talk to people you do not know, okay? So put your shame aside, you know, Tarof and all that. And during the networking, go and introduce yourself to people you do not know. Introduce yourself, tell them what you do, ask them what they do, ask them if they have a job for you, or tell them if you have a job for them. This is what networking is. Okay, and in the past we have been successful as much as, you know, you allowed yourself to come out of your comfort zone. And tonight it requires that. So, you know, brew inside your head for the next hour or so that we have the program. And after that, I want you to get out of the gate, you know, run out of the gate and introduce yourself to people you do not know. Don't bunch up with the people that you know. That's the essence of networking. Tonight we have 2 startup program, 2 startup presentations, that is. And the first one, is it ready? How do I know they're ready? They are. They are right behind me. Mr. Sayed Nabavi, co-founder of what company? Sayed John, I will let you handle all of that, and you have 7 minutes, and we may get you some questions. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure. Let me share my slides
Oh,
here.
we changed it.
Okay. Can you see the slides here?
We can, yes.
Okay, great. So, hi everyone, salam. My name is Sayed. I am my co-founder. You are here to introduce Extremity AI, a conversational data intelligence with real-time workspace. So the problem in today's business, actually businesses are facing 3 challenges when they are using AI and traditional BI tools. First challenge is that generic AI basically is blind to industry context. It's like asking GPT about inventory optimization or actionable insights is like asking a generalist for brain surgery. BI tools are slow and complex. They are hard to learn. It takes days to learn and even hours to generate insights. And the third problem is disconnected data and disconnected teams. So most of the time, insights stay trapped in different spaces, and it's hard for teams to efficiently collaborate and generate report and export those insights to full decision-making teams. So how Extremity is solving these problems? In 3 steps. The first step is that we provide vertical trained AI plus NLP dashboards. What does that mean? It means that AI will be deeply trained on your industry, connected to external and internal data. How it works, ask in natural language, human language, and you will receive instant visual dashboard with actionable insight that you can make a decision in your industry, as you can see in this picture. The second step to solve the problem is a real-time and live team space, which teams actually can work and collaborate together in real time, share insight, and make decision, basically a full transparent decision-making process. And the third step to our solution is instant export and embedded delivery via Slack, email, and many other channels. As you can see, there is a screenshot of our team space in this slide. And well, compared to our competitors, our main differentiator is sector-specific data models. Basically, we provide industry-specific trained AI plus instant visual dashboards. Why now? Well, enterprises, it's clear that enterprises are in a race and moving from static analytics to AI augmented workflow. We can feel it. What's the size of the market? Total addressable market is 47 billion. And basically serviceable address market is 4.7. And of course, we are planning to take around 1,000 clients in 5 years, which is equal to around 100 million of the share of the market in 5 years. Our revenue model will be SaaS licensing, special as agent packs, and we are planning to basically do custom features, development and deployment for enterprises on demand as well. So our go-to-market strategy, we are planning to start with mid-sized companies in North America and Europe, and through partnership with MSP companies, integrators, and partner deployers. Our roadmap, we are finishing our alpha phase by end of Q3 2025, and by end of Q4, we have launched our beta phase with 1 or 2 verticals. And by vertical, I mean industry. And in 2026, Q1 and Q2, we will launch agent orchestration engine, and we will scale the sales and partnership and vertical expansion to different industries. This is a team. Again, my name is Sayed. I have more than 15 years experience in data science and more than 25 in other industries. And same goes for Ayub's. He has more than 15 years in strategy and product management. So here, the sweet spot. We are asking for $2.5 million. So majority of these will go to HR and hiring talents, and 20% of this is for GTM and business development. So this is our contact. If you'd like to contact us, we will be happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have time for a couple of questions. Raise your hands if you have questions, and I'll get you the microphone. Yes. Please state your name and your affiliation before you ask your question.
Hey, Syed, great presentation. My name is Mona Gorgistani. I'm with Ambience AI. I'm just curious, like, how does your platform differentiate from Sigma Computing?
Sigma Computing, well, honestly, what they do exactly?
So I'm right now, just the context, I'm looking for something better than like a Tableau, for example. So for AI-powered BI tools, Sigma Computing claims to kind of be like the next era. So I'm just curious if you, yeah.
Well, what we are here, our main differentiator is that we are industry specific. So basically, we are vertical AI. We are not generic. So let's say if you are working in fashion industry, there will be a team space and AI specific to that industry for you, which actually answers your question and create dashboard and visual specific to your needs. It's not generic. That's our differentiator. Then you can share those in your team space and actually generate report or discuss in real time with your team. So that's our main differentiator. There's no AI that actually or platform that is vertically. So like fashion, crypto, SaaS, and etc. Does that answer your question?
Hi, Sayed. Thank you so much for the presentation. I actually had a question and a follow-up question. I was wondering about the significance of that value proposition or that differentiation of industry-specific trained AI. Can you talk more about that, please?
Yes, yes. So basically, it's first of all is speed of the decision-making process. Assume that fashion retailers or buyers or planners using this one, usually in their system, in their traditional method, it takes days or weeks to actually come and select the product or basically a quantity recommendation based on the external trends, internal data. But with this, it takes them around, if they want to get the external insights, it takes them around 60 seconds to generate the insight and import it. So basically, hundreds of hours, which means money and dollar, if you can convert it to dollar. It's about time and efficiency. So not just basically generic AI or generic search internet. It's basically actionable insights in less than 1 minute.
Yes, hello.
Specific.
Thank you. This is Farzad Hakimzadeh, Meta. I have a question for you. So which domain-specific LLM are you using for this foundational model? And if you're not using anyone, I mean, you must be using something. How are you going to train it? How are you going to train a vertical specific domain? Are you asking somebody else to do it for you, like OpenAI, or are you having your own neural network? Thank you.
That's a very good question. We are using the current LLMs. We are fine-tuning them based on industry-specific data. Of course, we are planning to use offline LLMs like Llama, but right now we are using basically the latest LLMs, and we are actually using expert in any industry to generate training data or fine-tuning data to train them. However, this is not the only things that differentiate us. Just FYI, we have curated external data. Basically, we have third-party providers that provide us with data, and we embed this both to create insights, just not AI. Also curated external data.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nabavi. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Okay, let me start.
Our next presentation is Omid Asghari, and he is the co-founder of Giraffa. I hope I pronounced it right. Omid, take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning, salam. Good afternoon there. Good morning here, konnichiwa from Japan. My co-founder is in Portugal, so I think it's early morning there as well. So let me just share my screen. Can you see my screen? Not yet.
It says hi.
Yes, hi. So, Giraffa, let me start right away from our story. You know, some years ago, some years ago, Benjamin and I, we've been working together. Like Benjamin is one of the greatest, I would say, freelancers, content creators, and I've been doing a lot of marketing things in different sectors as handling different projects. So I had these pains and problems to hiring like content creators based on location. So I know, for example, we can do like AI generated content, but let's imagine I'm like organizing a conference, and I need someone here in Japan or in Portugal or US to cover my event, like based on photography and also videography. So I had lots of problems. So these are some of the problems that I had, like mismatch skills, limited search. I went through the Upwork or other platforms, but it was not very easy to find, and the trust building and so on and so forth. So after that, we worked together for so many years, and we find why not we create a giraffe. Giraffe is a symbol of community, so we try to start with bringing the solution that we can kind of in a good way. Matchmaking is a kind of geolocation based platform to make this connection between content creators focusing on videos and photography, and also project owners that they wanted to do these kind of like services for themselves. So we started together back to 2020, and the Giraffe version 1 launched and designed. We did a lot of try and error. Then Behruz joined to the team to increase the quality. And 2023, we started to participate in different acceleration programs to fail fast, to learn from the best practices in different accelerations and incubators. We've been in Web Summit Lisbon and also in Qatar. And now we try to from the bootstrapping point of view, we want to launch the second version. That's why we need smart money, just not money. But let's focusing on the market size. I think I know it's very saturated market, but it's a huge potential because still the pain is there, and we have to figure out how we can integrate these pains and convert it to potential opportunities to growth. Basically, we started in Portugal, and in Portugal, which is a kind of like a paradise for freelancers, but the challenge is how they can get the projects, how they can trust. And according to the European Union report, Portugal is a kind of like paradise of freelancers in terms of like the index of innovations and so on and so forth. But this is very kind of tricky because now we face with something AI, and AI, everything goes to AI, but I would say that's why we put it like high, because I do believe we need to say goodbye to AI and say hi to human intelligence. So I'm using this funny analogy. So you can find your partner in Tinder, but you cannot make a baby with Tinder. So that's like analogy that I'm using usually, because still we need human interaction in terms of like content creation and like in the location. So this is very important. So far, we developed the web platform. We are like in the phase of like finalizing the Android and iOS.
Did we lose the video?
Get feedback, to get the interaction, and also with you guys. That's why we present in different interesting event like this. So far, without any marketing, we had these numbers. We have 175 clients and creators in total from Portugal, Spain, UK, Germany, and other parts of the world. and we have like a B2C, B2B business model based on subscription and also commission for employers, which is quite easy to understand. And basically, what we are focusing on, the gap between like a visionaries and pragmatists, because I think here is a gap, and those gap still is not filled with other platforms. Although we have like top companies that are working in this domain, but they want to try to cover all the thing at the same time. But we are going to focusing on a very specific niche based on geolocation and also photos and videos, not post-production, not pre-production, production in the location. This is our, let's say, focus now. And hopefully we can bring this to the market in a way that we can exit in a good way. In 2025, I would say we face a lot of so far challenges with the rise of AI and how we are going to integrate our AI to our service and mobile app. This is still is a challenge to find the right team to bring this to our services, because understanding both sides from artificial intelligence work from human intelligence, and also working in the industry of commercial and freelancing is not very easy to find those people. So far, we started to like host kind of podcasts with different people, and we had some clients that we covered their events, paid clients. And here is our team, Benny and Omid, and also Behruz. And we have a great, let's say, diverse team, Persian mix of Portuguese as well. And from different parts of the world, we are fighting for a mission to build this crazy community that can serve for the best output. Thank you so much. And if you have any question, please reach it out.
Thank you very much, Omid. There's time for a few questions. The first one comes over here. Please remember to state your name and your affiliation.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. Very good one. Very good idea. But
I can't hear you.
Oh. Should I do anything different so they can hear me? Okay. So my name is Mariam. I'm mostly in health tech, very different, but I definitely use Fiverr and Upwork for different reasons in the startup community. But I understand that you're focusing on a very niche market. What other features your platform is offering that you think you can compete with Upwork or Fiverr or other platforms that they should choose some freelancer from your platform comparing to those that's offering multiples?
Basically, what we are doing, we are focusing on geolocation base. Like imagine like Uber for content creation. So in the location, there is urgency. Like when you organize one event, for example, it is good that you can do based on location and use the locals to cover your event. For example, if you go to the Qatar, you don't take your team to cover your Web Summit event, to cover your videos. So that's why connecting locals to international businesses, this is one of the things that we are focusing on.
Hi, my name is Golnaz. Thanks for the presentation. I've been trying to find your app on the App Store or via Google and I couldn't, so
No,
maybe.
it still is not. It still is not launched. It's a web-based now. We didn't launch our app, iOS and Google Play yet.
Yeah, but I also tried Googling you to find your web page and I couldn't. So I'm just suggesting you do some SEO optimization so that your company shows up.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Sure.
There's a question up front. Dr. Murthy, you have a question? Yes, hold on.
Good presentation, good idea. How do you vet the... Oh, yeah. I'm Dr. KRS Murthy. I have organized and chaired a world record number of AI conferences. In what you do, how do you vet the different players and partners and re-vet them as everything keeps going? So you because you are not directly in touch with them, don't see the results, work, etc.
In one part of our platform, we have like a kind of quality control assurance. So we have some steps to make sure everything goes in the right direction. So this is one of the aspects that I had, as I said, I had difficulties as you rightfully asked this question. So how you are going to make sure that your steps is like based on your expectations in your project. So this is exactly now we are like discussing with the different players to understand the customer journey map from both sides. So what are the most important points from the like content creators and what are the pinpoints from like project owners? And this is a challenge because different views, but the same mission, and the different arguments, but the same mission. So this is now we are currently we have this challenge to how we are going to integrate the AI and how we can make sure to this goes all together in a proper way compared to the other platforms that there exist. So still we are learning in this phase.
Hi. Hi, Omid. This is Jerry with Get Kaizen. So you mentioned about your geolocation based. So I'm wondering, since it's geolocation based, and I assume there would be some sort of language barrier, and how would you be able to is this a concern, and how would you be able to solve it? Like, with AI or with not AI?
Yes, this is also a very good question. And now we are discussing with like a techie people to solve this. Basically, the language also is something that we need to take care of that. And we have two scenarios: to use the AI or to not to use the AI. And again, as we are learning now, we are still we are not sure which direction, because is something like a very critical decision in terms of development now, and the cost and all the effort. So still we are like discussing with tech people and also business development how we are going to face these challenges. So thank you so much. You point out all the great obstacles and hardships to continue, and that's why we are here to learn.
Omid-Jan, thank you very much for your presentation. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Now we go to the fireside chat portion of our program. Buckle up, because the speaker tonight is a man whose brain works faster than NVIDIA's Blackwell GPU. His LinkedIn page is much more optimized than your resumes. What should I say about Amir Kavousian. He is a PhD from Stanford, entrepreneur, startup founder, expert in cybersecurity, an app exec, father of two. Wait, there's more. He's a mountaineer. He is an avid photographer. And just for fun, he is a marathon runner too, as if it wasn't enough. The man builds machine learning during the day and just for fun runs 26 miles. So help me welcome Amir Kavousian, a man who knows about your AWS misconfiguration than you do. Amir Kavousian. Amir Jan, خوش آمدید. Can we have a microphone for Amir? Actually for me. Well, I will take a few minutes. Go ahead, sit down. No. Amir Jan, welcome to our fireside chat. Thank you very much for accepting the offer to come in. There's a lot to talk about. I'm very excited to learn what you're doing. But before that, we usually go to the origin story, chronologically. You were born in Iran.
Yes.
And
does the mic work?
Does the mic work?
Perfect. Thank you. No?
Go ahead. Get it close.
Is it working?
Yeah, it is.
Perfect. Okay. Operator.
Which high school did you go to? What college did you attend? What was your concours ranking?
The usual questions. Concours ranking. I had to go back and check that because that's the only question I think I knew you were going to ask. High school, I went to Fajr Danish, somewhere close to our house. It was a wonderful place. Had a lot of fun. College, concours, I think my ranking was 173. At the time, I wasn't super happy about it, but you know, the further you go, the less important it looks and it sounds. At Sharif, I studied civil engineering, and then for my grad school, I came to Stanford. I did construction management. Eventually, for a PhD, I did double E and civil engineering together, so double major.
So at some point, you moved very fluidly from academia to big company and then your own startup. What was the aha moment at which you decided that I can build something and I can build a big company? Do you remember that? What happened?
I don't think I ever realized that I can absolutely build a great company. There wasn't a moment that I felt like this is the moment I'm ready, I'm gonna just go and do it. I feel like most people in this room who are founders or entrepreneurs get that. Like at some point you kind of get enough momentum behind you that I feel like it's a good time to start. At least I have de-risked a lot of things that could make this go wrong. And you just get it started. I think it's more of a journey than a moment. But I do know when it was that I realized I want to be a founder. It was my teenage years. And my dad himself was a founder, multiple times founder. He worked at the public sector, but he also founded companies on the side, and then eventually decided to leave public sector and just dedicate his time to founding companies, and just seeing how much value and satisfaction he was getting out of his work compared, before and after. That was a moment for me that I felt like, okay, so this is what sense of ownership about your work and your kind of outcome and your destiny feels like.
So you decided you want to be a founder of a startup way before you went through your education. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, so you got your PhD and you worked for Capital One for a
few
while.
years, yeah.
But all the time you knew that you're going to start your own company.
Yes, yep, absolutely. I think it's important to see how big companies, good companies are built, managed. Also, I think it was good for the network that I was building. A lot of, my existing network, like the first customer we had at my current company was my colleague at Capital One. So he was someone who knew me from before, supported me. I had supported him in his own, way of works. And so for us, it was more a moment of, I trust you, you trust me, I support you, you support me, and let's just, make you successful, make each other successful. So a lot of that comes back to you. So I think working at great places, it always
beneficial because you build that network and then eventually you can use that.
So help me understand. You decided to start a company way back, but you didn't know you're going to start it in cybersecurity or app security.
Absolutely.
At what point was it through your education at Stanford that you were interested in hacking and security? Is that what it was, or was it later on, or was it that Capital One that, since you were part of that group, you were part of the security group?
I think being in Bay Area, I always knew I wanted to start a company in tech. So the tech part was more or less decided by just being in the in here. Even there was a lot of good health tech companies, but as an engineer, at least for me, that was the direction that felt more natural. At Capital One, I got a lot of exposure to security, just a lot of appreciation for what it goes into a software to make it and keep it secure. And I also saw the future in the sense that more and more of our critical infrastructure data applications are going on the cloud. Just as an example, while I was at Capital One, we were going through a huge transformation to move everything from on-prem, super secure databases to cloud. And so that was a huge moment for banking industry in general. Not many banking companies were doing that. And so for us, security was very, very much top of mind. So we had an amazing team of security engineers. So just working with them got me more interested. That was one part. The other part, I think, was, again, digging into my network. There were a lot of friends and folks that I had worked with in the past who were in cybersecurity space. And so
So they influenced you?
They influenced me. My dinner conversations were about cybersecurity, for example, as opposed to like something else. So
what was the attraction? This is the cat catching the mouse, or the detective catching the criminal? Is that what was the thing that gave you the juice to do that?
It was, I think the problem.
Or were you the victim at some point and you decided that I'm not going to let that happen again?
That's a good question. Because it goes actually back to an event a lot of us are familiar, and it hits very close to home. The first idea for our first company came out of in the aftermath of 2016 elections, where there was a lot of hacking involved during the election cycle. And those hacks were influencing the outcome so much.
You're talking about 2016 election
2016, 18 years ago, yes.
Yeah.
And for us, it was a moment that we realized cybersecurity could actually influence the, I don't want to say arc of the history, but in a sense maybe it does.
And when you say us, which company were you part of? Were you in Capital One then?
I was at Capital One, but I already was exploring ideas for my next.
Itching to start your own company.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so the idea evolved. It wasn't your thesis at Stanford, which was about security, unlike Larry Page doing the Page PhD, Page ranking PhD and becoming that. So what is app security? The way I understand it is there are all these multitude apps and web apps that interact with each other, and any one of them can take advantage of the flaws that is in the other one. Yep. That's you're working on. And also, the other idea is you get involved early on, the earlier the better, with the developers in order to be able to put something in their program to assure that everything is secure. Is that it? Like, I'm sure there are a lot of components of this one, but this is the 30,000-foot image of this one.
Pretty much, and that's the beauty of it, because it's simple like that, but in reality, it's much more nuanced. So the way the application is usually developed, you start with a design phase, and then you go through development, testing, and deployment, and maintenance, and so on. So there are different phases, just like how you build a building, right? You start with a design, architecture, and then you build it, and you test it, and so on. What usually people think about when they think about cybersecurity is someone hacking into a database and maybe grabbing a bunch of sensitive information, credit card information, and so on and so forth. That's true, but that's one aspect of cybersecurity. The way that the systems need to be designed in order to prevent people from accessing that data, there are multiple layers of support, there are multiple layers of security that goes into that. Exactly. Yeah. Some of that relates to exactly how the application is developed and designed. For example, if you're using your banking app, the way that you're accessing your own data makes you incapable of doing certain transactions if the application thinks that you are not the person who you claim to be, right? That's a business logic of the application. That's the application brain thinking about this person, there's something iffy about this process or this behavior, so I'm gonna stop that from happening. That happens during the design. That's a logical way that the application is designed. That's where most people start to make mistakes because it's a very human-driven process. And so what we are trying to do—
the goal is not to make a secure application. The goal is to make an application
faster.
That works. Yeah.
Exactly, faster. And so it's not usually top of mind for developers. And so, in security, there is this saying that if you leave anything to human behavior, that thing will be the weakest point because humans are just fallible, especially when it comes to security. And so we are trying to automate that using AI, of course.
So you probably have a compendium, an encyclopedia of all the ways that attackers or hackers can break into the system. But isn't that the case that all these systems become, they have this book too and they know not to use these because you have defenses for all. Don't the attacks mutate in sort of a way that you always have to be ahead of them, otherwise you lose the game? How do you play that game?
It's a huge problem. The way that usually it's solved, cybersecurity is a very, I would say, interesting industry in the way that people, even if they are working in competing organizations or companies, they tend to have this sense of community. It might be similar, let's say, in health tech. Again, I'm not an expert in that space, but because everybody feels like they are doing something for the greater good of the entire industry. So there is a lot of security researchers who publish their work on a daily basis, and a lot of organizations. So they try to stay ahead of attackers, but still there is a lot of breaches that happen. That the breach has happened, but the attackers are sitting on it for the right time. So these are even called zero-day vulnerabilities. There is a term for it that says there is a lot of critical systems that have already been hacked. We just haven't seen the impact because the hackers are sitting on it for the right moment.
You'll hear the sound tomorrow, yes, as the joke goes.
There's a literal, word for it. So we'll never get completely ahead of attackers. The most important thing is how to stop that, or how to make it harder and harder and harder for them to
so attack. Your current company is DevArmor.
Yep.
And you founded another company and you sold, right? Is that
yes.
But this one is the latest and the greatest, and the ingredient that you're adding to this one, the secret sauce, is AI.
Yep.
Plus what you know about cybersecurity. How is that going to work? How is AI blending with cybersecurity? Except the obvious way that you train it with all these things that we know. Is there any other things to it?
So cybersecurity, even though it's a very specialized activity, there's a lot of manual day-to-day activities that security teams need to do. These range from just normal boring stuff such as reviewing engineering's work or reviewing a design doc that an engineer has put together. Just give them basic feedback because, again, development has become specialized. So developers are specializing and focusing on how to make the application more scalable, faster, and just basically go through the whole cycle faster. Security teams are specialized in how to keep it secure. And so there is a lot of back and forth between the two. But that is starting to kind of show cracks because as developers have access to faster tools to write code faster because of AI, what used to take a couple of weeks to build, now it's a matter of 10 minutes, 15 minutes for a security engineer and Cursor or any other AI tool. Security teams are starting to feel falling behind. And so they are overwhelmed. They can't keep up with the developers. They don't have the same quality of tools that developers have access to with respect to AI and automation. We are trying to give that to them. And so we started with one of those activities, one of those boring day-to-day job activities, which is giving feedback to developers on the design of their application.
What is your edge? If somebody over here hears you and says it's a good idea, I'm good at security, and I would, make a language model that covers all these things and combine them together. Are they competing with you, or are you ahead of them?
I hope they. I hope they do. I think more competition is even more helpful because it's just educates the market. Exactly. But the way that we think about why did I start something in this space and not focus on another problem was that I used to be a developer myself and then turned to a security founder. So I've been on both sides. I kind of have empathy for both sides of the aisle, developers and security.
You're seeing from both.
And I studied machine learning and AI. So for me, it's kind of a, coming together the three aspects of my career and life and education that helped me.
Triangulating them.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you think AI will most meaningfully change the way we think about cybersecurity in 5 years?
So AI is already making hackers faster and more effective. We've seen the impersonation attacks. You can't even trust face anymore. You can't trust video anymore. The saying is that basically zero trust is coming to even real-time interactions. And so security teams need to have access to the same level of sophisticated tools. And AI is giving us those level of tools as well. We just need to make them more accurate, faster, more user-friendly. So I think in 5 years, what we are going to see is that AI is going to help both sides. It comes down to what kind of tools can we give to security teams? Can we continue to support them? Can we continue to kind of stay ahead of attackers?
Okay, let me ask you about talents that you may need. Some of them may be in the audience. They may beseech you afterwards because I'm sure you're hiring.
Please.
You led teams at startups and also at big company Capital One. How do you approach hiring the technical talent? I'm sure you have created your own system. What separates a great engineer from a good one in your eyes?
It depends on the stage of the company, but I'm sure a lot of folks are familiar with this. But earlier stage, obviously, you need to be able to work with incomplete and maybe sometimes even ambiguous information. So what I usually look for is this a person who has started something from scratch? It doesn't need to be working at, having work at a startup, but something that maybe on the side, they've worked on an open source project. They have a weekend passion project that they show they can start from a goal in mind and basically work backwards from there. So that's the most important thing that we try to filter. The other thing is just being able to work well within a team environment. Earlier stage, again, there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of, sometimes you need to change direction. And so is this a person that can be flexible under these conditions? So I think the vibe and the sense and the way that we work at earlier stage is very different from a later stage, and a lot of people maybe without having gone through that, they don't appreciate that necessarily. So we try to filter for that a lot. But other than that, the technical talent, I think, especially at this day and age, and especially in this area, there is no shortage of that. That is the least of usually our criteria and problems that we need to solve.
There's no shortage of technical talent. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what separates from creme de la creme than the rest of the people?
I think that's
because some of them are sitting in the audience. I want them to hear and adapt to what you want to look for.
I think it's sense of ownership, really. It is that sense of ownership, being able, flexibility, being able to really work with incomplete information. As we build the product. Later stage, once you hit a certain level, once you hit a certain scale, once you have a team with someone on top that can translate maybe product and client requirements to technical requirements, that level of translation, when that happens, then you can basically work with folks that are more or less following certain maybe not instructions but certain direction. And so at that level, maybe you're looking for a different type of personality, but earlier stage, definitely you need to be able to translate the big picture and the day-to-day. What do I need to do today to get to the next client? What do I need to do today to get this feature out by the end of the week? And so there's a lot of sense of ownership. There's a lot of that, what we call kind of, being greedy a little bit.
Being greedy.
Yeah.
your audience, your customers actually, a big part of your customer are actually the developers.
Yep.
They have to buy into the concepts that you're preaching and actually do that. I remember about my time in design for test, you had to convince the designers to forego part of the chip in order to do tests, and that was very, very difficult. At the end, they would take it away. What is the biggest misconception that these developers that you're trying to convince have? And if you, I assume if you get through that misconception, you would win them and they would be more cooperative with you.
Yes, absolutely. The biggest misconception in security slows them down. And it's, there is some truth to that too, because if it wasn't for security, they could write code and just, deploy it.
But you could never get there. I mean, it slows you down versus you would never get there.
It's a short-term versus long-term thinking.
Exactly.
But, to some degree, there are certain security teams that operate on a different time scale. And so, there is some truth to that. It depends on really the sensitivity of the application too. And so we can't really just put this on security teams. But the biggest misconception is that security slows us down. And that's exactly why we're tackling one of the most time-consuming phases of security and software development, which is the design phase.
Early on.
The early on, yes, exactly.
Amir, you have shipped, pivoted, scaled, and rebuilt all the phases that can lead to success or sometimes to failure. Can you share a time when you failed, when things didn't work, and you were bogged down with all those problems? And how did you come back from that abyss?
I mean, it happens in the startups all the time. Sometimes we call them pivots, sometimes we call them redirections, and it's part of the startup life. And I think everybody is in this room interested in being founder journey. I think is familiar with that. But my example is from our previous company at Altitude Networks. One of the key lessons we learned early on was that when you are building an integration, for example, heavy application, what matters is that you basically go out and sign up as many customers as possible before you have that tool or integration. We used to go and talk to customers, and we had 15 different integrations, 15 different features, and they would say, "What about these two?" And we said, "We don't have it, sorry," and we would lose that deal. Until really the aha moment came for us that, hey, we could do that probably in a month or so, and the time that it takes for them to go through the whole process of decision making and becoming a customer, it will be 1 month. So for us, changing that, making that switch was really the key to be able to do that. It comes at its own cost. You can't do that all the time because if you keep going back to your engineering team and say, oh, drop everything that you're doing because we have this one customer who has said they're going to sign, and if you build these two features, they're going to sign definitely, and what if they don't sign? You're just going to lose your engineering team's trust. And so you need to be strategic about how you do it, but that was one of the lessons we learned. Some of those we won, some of those deals we lost, and we had to go back to engineering team and really explain ourselves.
Just pick up yourself and go.
Exactly.
With everything you've seen, deep tech, security, AI, what's one thing that keeps you up at night? And what's one thing that gives you hope that you can make a difference or your company can succeed?
I think overall, just seeing how much adversaries are using AI effectively is scary. Is absolutely scary. Seeing, how there's really no, I think, concept of truth anymore. What you see and hear on news can be completely made up as well. Yeah. And so that definitely, at a high level, just as a member of the society, keeps me at night in that case. What gives us hope is that there's still a lot of smart people on the bright side, and I think this is one of those other challenges that we can overcome eventually. I think I'm already seeing how people are starting to come up with ways to counteract that. But I think once the AI dust settles, the way that we look at truth, the way that we look at online safety, the way that we look at online security is just going to be fundamentally different.
So this is your hope or your fear?
This is my hope. Because I don't think we can continue. I mean, the Pandora box is open. I don't think we can continue to have the same, understanding of online safety and security now that we have access to AI and adversaries have access to AI. My hope is that everybody comes to terms with that and moves on to a new way of defining that.
You're a runner. You ran marathons. San Francisco marathons?
San Francisco marathons, yeah.
And well, it takes a certain kind of mettle of a person to do that. And I admire you for that. I always wanted to, never have done it. Maybe in my next life. What I want to ask you, what's the similarity between running a marathon and running a startup?
I think you can definitely still run it, but
I was afraid of that, yeah.
The way, so a marathon for me is more, the fun part of it is the planning and the training, because it's not just an event that you go out and run for 5 hours, 6 hours a day. It's a commitment you make to yourself that for the next 6 months I'm going to train for this, and I'm going to show up for training every day, and I'm not going to skip training, because if I do, I'm not going to be able to finish a marathon, or I may be able to finish it, but I'm going to give myself an injury that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life. And that's the most, I think, parallel I can make between running a marathon and running a startup. The way I look at it is, motivation is what gets you started, but really momentum is what gets you past the finish line. And so that's the same thing. There are many people who sign up for a marathon. At some point, the momentum is not there for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be that they are not a strong individual. Sometimes it's a family issue or something else. But it's that momentum that once you lose it, then you won't be able to make it to the marathon. And so for me, it has always been that, can I set up my lifestyle for the next 6 months in order that I can show up to my training every day? That's been the key lesson for me.
And you train every day for marathon?
While I was training for marathon, yes, you have to train 6 days out of 7 days.
You have 2 small kids.
Yep.
How old are they?
6 and 4.
Oh my God.
2 girls.
And you tend to your marathon interests, and you do photography. I've seen some of the photos you've taken, and you do mountain climbing. How do you keep life and work balance? What is your secret? And what do you suggest people do?
I don't do all of that at once. And so I haven't done a mountaineering trip since.
I didn't expect you to do them at once, yeah.
But,
one after another, yeah.
So the way to keep it balanced is I pick one thing and say, okay, for maybe next 6 months I'm going to train for this marathon. It's a way for me to calm my mind down. It's just, working, especially running a startup, is stressful. And so for me, that's the moment that I have, an hour, half an hour a day I have as me time. So that's how I kind of try to sell it to myself, that I need that in order to show up tomorrow and be the best version of myself. Same thing if I'm going on a hike or doing something else. Again, it goes back to, for me, just planning that in my day helps more, as opposed to every day waking up and thinking, can I go for a run today or not? And so prioritizing that over everything else.
And my last question is, can your GPU be clocked down for you resting a little bit at times?
I hope so. My kids are making sure that I do that. It's been great. I think being a dad has been wonderful to that, because it has made me a more patient person overall.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We have time for a few questions. Raise your hands. And I guess somebody will. Saeed Ghafouri has the first question. Can somebody pass a microphone to them? Ruzbeh will. Just 1 second. Over there? No. Because we're making a video of this one.
Thank you. Saeed Ghafouri with Innovera. Beautiful story. Thank you. My question is, how do you deal with hallucinations when you use AI tools for this purpose? Because it seems like that could be a problem in security space.
Yeah, in security, you try to basically use AI only when you absolutely need it, as opposed to using it as a wrapper around everything else you do. The way that we review design documents or code base and so on, we try to basically stretch the deterministic methods for as far as we can, but there is going to be an element, or there's going to be a process where you need to process natural language, or you need to present the output in a natural language. That's where we try to use AI. Or for example, again, because we are focusing on design side of things, we work with diagrams, architecture diagrams. Engineers love, whiteboarding stuff. They take a picture of that and they just call it a day. Great, no problem. How do we translate that into something digital that we can actually run some deterministic analysis on it? That's something that AI can help us, and it's much, much better than what we used to have in the OCR world and those years. But we also always bring the human in the loop to approve that. And so the two ways that we are trying to do it is minimize that to only the extent possible, and then always have the human in the loop to tell them this was done by AI, this was assumed by AI. The better the models they get, the less of these problems will be. But it is a problem that you need to account for. So it's always
Thank you.
valid.
My fear here, if I may interject, is not so much hallucination, but injecting ideology in all
Absolutely.
these machines.
Yep.
For example, teach the machines to say that taxing the rich is bad.
Yeah.
Reza.
Hi, Amir. Thank you very much for the great the work that you're doing. So
your name and your affiliation, please.
Reza, ex-Capital One, by the way, University of Illinois at the
Cool.
moment. So I have so many questions, but two that I want to ask in particular, based on what you're seeing from the AI-generated code that a lot of people are using, are they actually security conscious, or are they creating garbage that is more prone to security attacks these days? So that's number one. And number two, flip side of the coin, do you see new attack models coming out of the work that AI is doing, and malicious players are using that, or is it pretty much the same old attack vectors just automated?
Both great questions. Thank you. On the code, the quality of code, there's both anecdotes and trends. There's actual research, security research that was done on AI-generated code that shows that it's less secure, or it has more security vulnerabilities compared to human-generated code. I see those research as being a former data scientist myself, the data that goes into that and the research conditions always play a part in that outcome. So what kind of human-generated code are we comparing it to? Was that created by a team at Google where there is very clear code review processes, or was that created by some junior developers, which honestly 80% of us mostly have access to? So there's a lot of that as well. I think AI-generated code is trending up in its quality. If I have to make a bet, in a few years, it's not going to be a huge problem. The other reason for that is that there is a lot of existing tool sets and processes to make the code more secure as it's being generated. And AI is having access to that. So there's code review and static code analysis and so on and so forth. It gets technical, but just a machine way to read the code and make it more secure, or find security vulnerabilities. And so I think AI will eventually become a better programmer, and just betting against AI as a software engineer is not something I would do. I don't think it's going to be the case in the long term. With respect to the new attack vectors, absolutely. We're seeing new attack vectors. A lot of them are, so far, what we've seen is around social engineering, because, for example, impersonation attacks that we talked about. But also, I was at a panel a few weeks ago with some experts on penetration testing. These are ethical hackers, basically, red teamers, right? You mentioned you have some experience with that, right? These are the folks who try to hack into your application with good intentions to show you the security holes in your applications. AI was able to find security vulnerabilities with almost like a 10th or 100th of the time that it took ethical hackers to do that. And so there is, there's that. The flip side of that is that, if again, hackers have access to that, to the same tools, then the speed by which they can hack into the systems it becomes it's 10 times. And so sometimes the speed is the key point, because there is a type of attack where you need to be able to quickly prevent that.
Speaking of trending, Rezas are trending. Next one goes to Reza Moqtaderi.
Yes, hi, I'm Reza. I'm a CEO of an AI company in the AI voice space. My question has a little bit of a context, and that is Jeffrey Hinton, the AI Nobel Prize winner, also dubbed as the godfather of AI, recently had an interview in which he said, and he had this which goes into your banking background, he's divided his own money into 3 different banks in Canada because he believes that they're not able to necessarily defend themselves through the cybersecurity attacks that they're going to get. What are some practical tips that you do in your personal life, or some stories in which your AI defended certain attacks that you can share with us that we can also do that are very practical and even tech-friendly people are not familiar with?
Thank you.
That's a good point. Just a few quick ones that I tend to do. Always, use multi-factor authentication. Don't use your text for that as long as you can. I have a physical security device. These are the regular security hygienes that you do. I think, if you have high net worth, divide them into bank accounts. Some people I've seen that doing that as well. For me, the most important thing so far has been just choosing how and where and when to share my personal data with, and what kind of services do I use to do that has been the key aspect. So similar to the same way that people divide their money into different bank accounts, what I'm doing is I do that in my information. So I have ChatGPT and I have Perplexity, and I don't necessarily share all of my personal information with either or both. Those are some easy things you can do. Outside of that, we just need to be more, I think, vigilant, make sure that the applications we are using pay attention to who is behind them. There's a lot of Chrome extensions are becoming the new attack vectors. Again, this was happening 10, 15 years ago. For a solid 10 years, we didn't hear from browser extensions, but they are becoming, again, a key part of attack vectors. So pay attention to who is the developer of that. MCP servers, for those of you who do AI native development, are now a huge issue. And so again, now there are tools that can identify potential problematic MCP servers. Just pay attention to, because AI hackers have access to all these different vectors.
And our last question goes to the gentleman over there.
Hi, I'm Shaheen Rohani with Altera. I have 2 questions, and maybe directly is not related to what you do, but I want to hear your opinion. So what do you think about implementing security using blockchain? And the second question is, have you thought about, do you think in the future for how to guard against PQC?
Guard against?
PQC, post-quantum. Yeah.
So on blockchain, I've worked for a blockchain company for a couple of years. So I'm optimistic about blockchain in the long term. The only I think argument against blockchain so far has been that every application that blockchain has claimed it can do, the traditional systems and architectures have been able to do faster and more scalable. And so that scalability is still there. Maybe that identity problem will be something that blockchain can finally solve for us, because especially as now AI agents are becoming their own identities and actors, and they're going to be just among us in the social and online networks. Maybe blockchain will help us there if the traditional systems start to fail. But I haven't seen an application where I could put my finger on and say blockchain is absolutely blowing every other system or traditional system out of the way. But I've always been bullish on blockchain in the long term, especially around identity. So that's one thing that I think it will be key. With respect to financial systems and so on, I don't think that with the current implementation of blockchain and with our expectations of how the financial systems should run with respect to the speed and latency and so on and so forth, I don't think we're going to get there maybe before quantum computing. Quantum computing is a completely different, I think, topic that, yeah, I was at Black Hat last week, and there's a completely different, subculture there that talks about, the 0 day and the quantum day and Q day and so on and so forth. They have their own terminology about it. I'm not an expert in it, but it's just, what we know about it so far is that it's just going to change and transform our perception of encryption and what's a safe way to transform data forever. But I think that the critical and the crux of the issue there is encryption. So if you can find a way to encrypt the data in that way in the new quantum world, that could be our first line of defense, basically. But again, I'm not an expert in quantum, so unfortunately don't have much more than that to share here. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, on behalf of the Persian Tech Network, Plug and Play, the Amidi Group, and the Iranian community in Northern California, I thank you, Amir Kavusyan, for coming here and spending the time with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Amir is going to be here, and you can talk to him about your other questions. And spend the rest of the time, please, 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 talk to strangers and find some future collaborators. Thank you. Oh, merci.